Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the Village Law SEQFC preview show. My name is Darren. I'm your host for the evening, and we're coming up to finals time. It's business time. Can you smell it? All right, we've wrapped up the regular season where the premiers, the real winners of the year, have been locked in and decided. We've got representatives from two of those clubs this evening. We will get to those in just a moment, but I've got one regular with me tonight. His name is Tony Jorkis. G'day, Tony.
Good evening. How are we?
Wonderful, mate. Wonderful. We thought we were going to have a cast of thousands again, but only a couple. But, oh, boy, we've got some good guests, let me tell you. All right, Tony, before we get to that, tell me what's happening in your world.
Just getting back into reality. You know, back from a holiday, back to work. Saving up to go again.
How did you go with your Olympic comments last week? Did you cop it?
I copped a bit of stuff. That's okay.
Truth hurts people.
Yeah.
That's all part of your football life.
It's been noted since 1999. Nothing changes.
Good stuff. All right, let's introduce our guests. Oh, I think we've got another one coming in. Good news. All right, so our first guest this evening is David De Silva. G'day, David.
Darren, how you doing, mate?
Good. Now, you are the coach of the all-conquering women's team there at Brisbane City. As I said to you before, mate, how easy is coaching?
Don't think the results probably don't reflect how hard the group's been working in the background. It's been more challenging. It's probably one of those things where I give Rob Askew a lot of credit. I think over the years he's done a brilliant job managing these sorts of teams, and yeah, it's a lot tougher than it looks.
Yeah, I bet it is. Now we're breaking a duck tonight. We've got Perry Moore with us from Southport. I have been trying to get someone from Southport Warriors on this show for at least 4 years. The duck is finally broken. Stay with us, Perry. Tell me you're there.
I'm here, mate. I'm here. Happy to be here. Thank you, Darren. Appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, great to have you. Now, I need to add, I couldn't get the coach, couldn't get the club president, couldn't get the assistant coach, couldn't get the captain, couldn't get the secretary, couldn't get the treasurer. You are the goalkeeper coach. Where does that put you in the queue, Perry?
Mate, I reckon I'm probably about 8th cab, maybe 10th cab off the rank, something like that. So, taking the PR responsibilities this evening.
But I do not care. I, for one, I'm just so happy to have you on board, mate. And I'm sure you've got a lot that you're going to add. And it's not often that we get goalkeeper coaches on the show either. So we'll have some interesting chat about the glove, people with the gloves a little bit later. All right. And we do have another guest that's lurking in the background. His name is Abdul Samim Khan. Abdul, are you there?
I'm here, of course.
Yes. Abdul is the club president at Logan Roos. Abdul, you're actually playing. You play your home games at my former home ground, so it's wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me too.
Good stuff. All right, we'll come back to you a little bit later. We're going to run through the leagues, and as we tick off your competitions, we'll have a little bit of a chat about them. Now, Tony, we had a little bit of controversy in the past week with the finals in the NPL. It's not a. Remember last week's show, Glenn Volker from Grange Thistle had a go at me and not doing my research about the semi-final makeup, and then Football Queensland come out with this one. It's not a top 4 in the NPL; it's a top 6.
And I've cancelled my Christmas parties and go to the grand final, 23rd of December.
All right, so let's quickly run through the story. Now, David is with Brisbane City, and he's fully in the know about what's going on. So, David, if I speak out of turn, please jump in and correct me. So, Peninsula Power played a game against Brisbane City where they played a player that had already racked up 5 cards. They called Football Queensland twice to check, but Football Queensland said no. Squatty says he's okay. Now, David, during that game, you said that there was a little bit of an incident between that player and some of the Brisbane City players. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right, mate. Yeah, that's what I understand, and ended up with some of the City players being red carded and actually being suspended for a few games as well out of it.
Right. So ordinarily it wouldn't really be an issue, but the fact that City lose 2 players to red cards, that's what's brought in the querying of it all. And as a result, Football Queensland have admitted their error, and to sort things out, they've made it a top 6. Now, what's been the impact of it now being a top 6, Tony?
Why are we turning it into a top 6? We've stuffed up and we're giving a team that should have been disqualified or to lose points an opportunity to now win a premiership.
So we've got Peninsula Power, who
they're running 6.
Yeah, they've come 6th, and I saw them earlier this season. Oh, it wasn't.
They were diabolical. I watched them. I was with you that night. Remember?
Yeah. Yes, and they've come from the clouds, come from the absolute clouds in the 6th place, and they now take on Gold Coast United, who only had 1 semi-final to play last week, and now they've got to play 2 to qualify for the grand final, which I guess they're the real losers out of this, aren't they?
So why go back? You've made a mistake. Admit your mistake. City are in the 4. Why are we giving the other 2 teams a chance?
I don't know.
What other country and state would that happen? Only in the Muppet world of Football Queensland.
Right. So this weekend we've got Gold Coast United up against Peninsula Power and Brisbane City up against Lions. David, how do you reckon City will go up against the Lions FC?
I think all the teams are going to struggle this weekend, mate, because a lot of players have, looked ahead and seen that it's a weekend off. So I think it's up for any of the teams, to be honest. I'm really not sure who's going to win. I know that the boys at City are really going to put in everything they can to get across the line, but I don't think Lions have been performing that well, but they've got so many good players that if they show up on the day, they could win as well. So hopefully City can pay them back for losing both games this season and get the win.
That'd be good. All right. So the winners of Gold Coast United and Penny Power take on Gold Coast Knights, who are currently playing in the Australia Cup. 0-0 was the score last I saw. Tony and Darren from that? No?
0-0.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, in the women's, we've got the Kappa Women's Super Cup. David, I'll bring you in on this one. So we've got Lions FC up against South United. You made the quarterfinal in this competition.
Yeah, we did.
What have you made of it?
Yeah, and South beat us in that game. I think they just had more legs in them on the night. Went to extra time and they managed to get the win in extra time. But South have quality players who hope if they show up could stretch Lions. But I just can't see Lions losing this one, to be honest.
Is that the only game you've lost this season?
Yeah, it is the only game. Yep.
Wow, ain't that something?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's get to your team this year. It's just been phenomenal, undefeated. Steph Latham scored 51 goals.
Yep. Was
she playing as a forward?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was a bit surprised when that's where I started playing her, but I knew who she was and how she drives the team, and she's been exceptional up front. And she's really been, supplied really well by some of her midfielders like Lainey Fryer, who's been absolutely exceptional. And I'm blown away that no one's looking at her for A-League Women's.
Of course, you coached her way back when the Raw were in the competition. How have you seen her develop?
Unfortunately, she had an ACL when I went to Moreton Bay in that season of 17 teams. So I think that's really hampered her development, just that time away. But, mate, she's an incredible player and an incredible person. And like a sister who's at the Raw and signed again for the Raw, Sean, when they're on the park together, mate, they're exceptional. And I just love watching them play.
Yeah, yeah. So with the squad that you had this season, were you selling them the story of of being in the NPLW the following year, that you're building something?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I wasn't getting people in for one season. We were trying to bring the right people to the club to build the culture of the club and the quality of the club. Most of them are too good, and I think the results have shown that. And I don't think that's a disrespect to any other teams in the league or any other players. But a lot of those players have NPL experience, so for us to convince them to come to the club was a huge achievement anyway. But part of the buy-in was that they were going to be playing NPL next season, and they earned their spot this season by doing that.
How many of the squad had you coached in the past?
Oh, a lot of them. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'd say 80-90% of them. If you count the last few weeks of last season where I came in late at City, pretty much all of them. But before that, a lot of the players we brought in I'd coached previously.
And what have you made of the league the rest of the competition this season?
Oh mate, it's a tricky one because I think Thunder have done really well. But I think the challenge for us and the frustration we've had is more again around the expectations of the league. It's supposed to be, a professional league in my opinion, but it hasn't been administered as a professional league. Women's round, we had one referee at home for the feature match of the round. We were really disappointed about that. But hopefully the league can grow. And I think you saw last season with Mitchie and Power going up, they've just gone from strength to strength this season. And hopefully we can do the same next season. And we'll see what happens with that Olympic Thunder game on the weekend. That should be exciting.
Yeah. David, I've wanted to get you on the show for the past few weeks, and particularly the main reason is to share the story about 5 years ago. You came up to me after a game and you said, look, I've just been at the national championships. There's this 15-year-old named Mary Fowler. She's going to be amazing.
Yeah, quality. We wish we had her at NTC because we probably would have beaten that New South Wales team in the final. But, Mary's an exceptional talent. And I heard Leah Blaney talk about her the other day and how they identified her. And she was on the training field conveniently before the Future Matildas went on at the time. And she was just banging them in from everywhere with a dad training. Exceptional player, exceptional person. And just so excited to see her flourishing in the environment she's in now.
Given your connection with some of these players, and of course you're friends with and worked with Mel Andrietta in the past, how personal was the Matildas journey for you?
I'm really proud of what the club did, to be honest, because it hasn't been known, but a lot of the Matildas lead up, we were supplying the boys to go in and train with the girls to be the opponents. We kept that really under wraps, and we've really had to make sure the boys didn't put anything on social media about it. But in the lead up, we did 23s camps and a lot of the pre-camps down the Gold Coast, and even early in the tournament, we had boys in the camps, and they're absolutely buzzing. I think it's a real shift in culture where, it's not viewed as lowering your standards to go and play with the girls. So it's been really exciting for the club to do that. From where I sit, the whole club's bought in and really supportive of it. So for me, that's a really big achievement for, I think, the Matildas, but also football in Queensland. Really proud of what they did in there and super proud of Mel. I just love her. She's awesome.
Yeah, she certainly is. All right, good stuff, David. We might come back to you a little bit later in the show. I'm going to move on now to the FQPL South Coast. I know that Perry's there. I don't want to lose him, so let's have the chat. Perry, Southport, what an amazing season it's been.
Yeah, mate, it's been fantastic. It's probably been the culmination of a lot of years of hard work. Probably something that, time-wise, we were expecting to get to this point around about this stage of our planning and of our building. And yeah, mate, it's been a fantastic year, and a lot of hard work's gone into it, and we're very happy. Yeah,
the magnitude of the win is measured by who you beat, and Robina had such a stacked team this season. So everyone at the club must be so proud.
Yeah, mate, definitely. You mentioned Robina there, but we come up against Kingscliff, incredibly well-coached team, very well put together system there. Palm Beach are always very difficult. And this year, to be honest, there's really not been an easy trip anywhere. I think a lot of Gold Coast teams are sort of looking at what others have done years before and really starting to push for those top 4 positions. So, yeah, it has been a very competitive league. And as you mentioned there, Robina, always solid, always strong, have been for the last couple of years. And to be able to finally get one over such a competitive team and such a strong team is yeah, something we're so proud of.
During the year.
Sorry, I lost the audio a little bit there.
Yeah, that's all right. I just had someone calling me, I think. Tell me
that's fine.
about how you managed to be so consistent during the year.
Mate, just a very clear system, and not only that, you know, we've had a lot of the same personnel for the last couple of years. So in terms of, there's been no real need for big changes. There's been no real need for any disruptions throughout the season. You know, we sustained, you know, one major injury to a key player, Luke Marsh, throughout the course of the year, and that was always difficult to replace such a key player and a number 9 at that. But the consistencies remain because of the fact that for the first time in years, we've had belief. I think we went into Southport a few years ago and the club was in a difficult transitional position. And we've managed to maintain a lot of the players from that time. But finally now, 3 years on, the players that were previously there and the ones that we've added now believe that we should be at the top of the league. And I think that's been a big part of our consistency for the year.
Tell me about Steve McDonald, your coach.
Where do you want to start?
Well, I don't know. I haven't met him over the past 4 years, so I don't
Cool,
know.
not a problem. All right. Yeah, mate, Steve's a character. He drives high standards, makes it very clear what he expects out of everybody involved with the club. It doesn't matter if you're the 11 on the pitch, the under 23s, people behind the scenes, coaching staff, makes it very clear what's expected. But he makes it he breaks down the walls between coach and player and makes you feel like, you know, you're wanted, makes you feel like you're needed. So it's that ability that he's got naturally, which I think has made success follow him anywhere that he's gone, and has made not only Southport, but just playing for him, you know, a destination, so to speak, a place where people want to be. They want to play for Steve and yeah, and have success.
That's one of the best answers to a question I've ever heard, Terry.
I'm a teacher, mate. I learned to just roll with it, and yeah, hence why I've got the gig. Hence why I got the call up.
Yeah, definitely. Well done, Warriors. Well, you are the goalkeeper coach. Tell us about your gloveman this year.
Mate, we've actually had quite a few. It's been a good year. We've been very fortunate with the guys that we've had, but just based on different situations and circumstances, we kind of had a few guys move on earlier on in the year. Rafael Castro was one who went to Magic, and he's done a fantastic job there. We've had a couple of guys, Lucas Chico, Scott Semple. They've done a great job earlier on. Back half of the year, we had a fantastic opportunity to sign Carl Pector, who was an Estonian international. Just sort of got the tap on the shoulder that he was available, looking for a club. And mate, he's one of the best goalkeepers I've worked with. He's the best goalkeeper I've worked with. Unbelievable attitude. We're very fortunate to have picked him up when we did, and it really solidified the back line.
Was he on holiday?
Moved over here, moved to the Gold Coast, and wanted to play football. Wanted the opportunity to play football, and just based on another goalkeeper coach that I know, we got in contact, and he said, I know somebody who needs a club, needs to play some games. Would you be willing to take him on? And I'll pass on that information, and the decision obviously was made to bring him in. And yeah, mate, he's fantastic.
That's amazing.
Yeah, very good.
All right, now I'm sort of a bit hesitant to ask this one, but we've heard whispers that Southport may not necessarily wish to go up through the pyramid, that they want to stay in the South Coast League. Is that what you're hearing as well?
Mate, everything that I've heard and every indication that I've got being behind the scenes there is that we want to progress. We want to challenge ourselves. You finish first for the opportunities to be able to test yourself against the best teams, and the opportunity to play against teams from Brisbane, put another Gold Coast team on the map, so to speak, following the footsteps of the Broad Beaches, the Surfers, Magic, Knights, those teams that have done so previously. We want to be competing with those teams. That's to my knowledge. There's obviously a lot of time between now and then, but we're looking forward to a test for promotion, and we're looking ahead to those games and very excited by the possibility of playing in them.
Yeah, great news if it's true. You must be looking at the clubs in the FQPL2 and FQPL1 and Gold Coast Knights and thinking, mate, this is a doddle. All we've got to do is get in there.
Mate, I think it's just a testament to the quality on the Gold Coast, and it has been that way for a long time. Yeah, you can look at the Broad Beaches, the Surfers who have done it in the last couple of years, but if we cast our mind back to 3-4 years ago, when it was still named the FFA Cup, we were very well represented in the latter stages. At that time, I was with the club, and we ended up in the round of 32, and that was again just an incredible achievement. And yeah, I think football on the Gold Coast is very competitive. Some quality teams. We're quite lucky. We've got a pool down there, and sometimes it's a case of the Brisbane teams kind of it's distance and it's proximity and all of that. So we're fortunate to have the quality that we have, but it's a bit of a tough path for us sometimes down the Gold Coast, looking through the ladder, as you sort of mentioned. But look, we're all up for a challenge, and yeah, we look forward to that promotion battle.
I've had a bit of a theory on the Gold Coast success in that there's probably, or I think that there's a lot more stability at the club, so that the players at the club stay there, and there's not as much changing of clubs as you would get in Brisbane.
Sure.
Is that something that you'd subscribe to as well?
Mate, 100% at Southport. Yeah, when we all came across to Southport 3 years ago, there was a core group of players there. And if you look back at a team list from Saturday just gone, where we won the league against Kingscliff, and the team list of the last round that they played in, I think it might have been 2019, before Steve and a few of us came across, it wouldn't be too dissimilar. We've been able to keep a strong core there because there is loyalty at those clubs, but there's also loyalty with managers, loyalty with coaches. I know, we've talked about Rabina. Lee has a group of guys that have obviously loved playing for him over the years, and I think there's also that element of loyalty there. But yeah, speaking on behalf of Southport, we don't have a high turnover of players. We're able to bring in some key people, and we haven't lost many. That's a real advantage.
Lesson in that, Brisbane. And of course, Ross Fennick's been at Kingscliff for 10 years as well. So there's that stability as well, which is bearing fruit for him. Let's move on to the semi-finals. It's got Palm Beach this weekend.
We do.
You confident? Think you can get over the line?
Mate, I am. Yeah, I think that if you manage to top the league, you manage to finish as premiers, I think you have to go in with confidence. We have full faith in the guys that go out there every week. As cliche as that might sound, we really do. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we have that belief now. We managed to win a grand final in our first year there. Well, Steve, myself, and a few of the other guys' first year there, and we have to still build on that belief. Add that to the fact that we've now finished as premiers and go into the final series very confident. We do, to a degree, have one eye on the playoffs that are coming up in a couple of weeks, but you can't afford to overlook a team like Palm Beach that are so physical, so competitive. They do not switch off, and they've got quality across the pitch. So, yeah, we want to try and win everything that we're in, and that starts with this weekend.
Yeah, big history of semi-final upsets on the Gold Coast too. So real banana skin game. What about Kingscliff? You reckon they can get over Rabina?
Mate, Kingscliff have a lot of quality, and like I mentioned before, Ross is a fantastic coach, great guy, and I think they can. It's going to be competitive, as you just mentioned there. Banana skins in semi-finals. Rabina have definitely got the quality to get over the line, but semi-final, on the day, it depends on what team shows up. And look, I'm looking forward to whoever it is, as long as we're there the week after to play them. I look forward to playing either of those two teams.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Perry, we might come back to you a little bit at the end. It's time to talk FQPL Metro, one of the competitions that we just haven't managed to get any guests for over the past couple of weeks. But we're breaking the duck. We've got Logan Roos on board with Abdul Samim Khan. G'day, Abdul.
Hi, man. Thanks
All
for
right.
having me.
Yeah, fantastic to have you on board. Now, first of all, tell me about the club. How did it get formed?
Oh, this started in 2016, June. So a group of boys got together and they were just playing futsal at Islamic College of Brisbane here. So we have had these boys together, and then it started with 10 kids. Then we ended up on Friday and Tuesday nights for about 40, 50, 60 kids coming there. And just one futsal arena. So we had to make teams. Just whoever scores stays. Whoever, just first one to score, that's it.
Yeah.
So we got together, and we used to start 6 o'clock and finish sometimes 10:30 at night. And then by the time they go home, we come home about 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock night, come and sleep, So that started in 2016. Then 2017 came. All boys they wanted to play football, like soccer, like playing organized football, play some league. They're not playing with any other clubs. So then we approached. There was a competition going on, Southeast Queensland League, SEQ League.
Yep.
And then we got applied. Our club, we applied from the council, the field, and that field was going on tender. So we managed to get that field in this Oats Park here. So that's how we started. Then we started with one team. We had only played the Southeast Queensland League then. And the next year we had a couple more, like the junior teams and all that. And that's how we grew. Now it's about 7 years now.
And how many teams have you got now?
We have, and the 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 11s, 12s, over 35s, and under 23, and first team FQPL.
Sure. Okay. Now, just with the players coming out of the Islamic school, is everyone Islam at the club?
No, absolutely not. Majority is there because it's in a very central place in the heart of Logan City, and majority of the kids are Muslim kids. And we have got 33 different nationalities of different fights. We have many fights in there, and imagine 33 different nationalities like that coming from around the world. And it's so colorful, it's so beautiful to see. We see all the cultures. We see sometimes the food, different food they bring in, share, and all that. It's amazing at the club, So we share the culture. We understand each other. It brings in that diversity. It's so colorful, and it brings all the respect to each other, and it's amazing.
Excellent. Now, last season, the top team, there were a few discipline issues, and the club didn't perform so well. But this year, you seem to have turned things around.
Oh yes, last year we are a new club, we're just 7 years old, and we are just coming up. But last year we had a very bad season. I would say, we'll be very honest with you. We had some in the beginning. It started well, couple games, but the boys had some discipline issues, and at the end of the day, like mid-season, they were playing some community games. Half the game they play here, and they want to go and play the community game, and we ran out of players. So we tried hard to keep the team and keep playing, even though we had less players, sometimes 8 or 9 players on the field. Sometimes we played with only 7 players, and some players had to play 2 games, reserve, and then the first grade, So we had a very hard season. Then afterwards, we had some good guys came in, you know, helped the club. Some administration side, got some new boys, you know. Then we did some media work, social media and all that, advertisements and all that. Then now we are back. So we're doing well this year.
Right. So you're playing with full squads this year, and the results have improved as a result.
Yes, we have a great season. Great season. We had we had a new coach, and Yang Yira, and he was new, young man, but the club helped him to get his license and, you know, get better. So he's getting better every game, and the boys they respect him. And both reserves and first grade, they respect him. And we have a good media guy, you know, he's always promoting what we do and all this, and it gives a good picture of the club. So that's, and plus we do have like a good connection with the boys. We do sit down together. We have some dinners together most of the time, and which keeps the bond together. You know, and then we have, if there is any issues with the boys, any problems, we try to help them and see which way is the best for them, you know.
Now, this weekend, you've got your semi-final up against Logan Village. How have you gone against them this year?
Oh, I believe it will be a great game with us, and it will be, we beat them last time convincingly, 4-0 in their home ground, and we're playing again there. We going there with the same positive attitude, and we are very positive. We will do very well, and I know they will be doing their homework to beat us, and we are ready for that.
Good stuff. Yeah. All right. So just running through the semi-finals in FQPL Metro, we've got Bayside up against Centenary Stormers, Pine Hills against Virginia United, that's FQPL 3 men. In the FQPL 3 women, Springfield United are taking on Toowong, Sanford Rangers up against Holland Park Hawks. In the FQPL 4 men, Brisbane Knights taking on Annerley, Springfield United against Carina. In the FQPL 5, Barton Latrobe hosting Oldbridge, Yeronga up against Kangaroo Point Rovers. I've mentioned Logan Roos up against Logan Village, and Braza taking on Park Ridge. Tony, are there any absolute certainties in that? I would say that Brisbane Knights are a certainty, and Sanford Rangers in the
What about Yeronga?
Yeronga against KPR?
Yeah, I reckon that's certainties.
Yeah. What about Pine Hills? What's going on there?
I haven't been down there for 10 weeks.
Haven't you? Okay.
I'll be there on Saturday to watch.
Okay, excellent. We'll get you to report back.
Virginia tailed us up the first game we played them. They absolutely slaughtered us on their home ground. I think they beat us 4-0.
Yep.
But on paper, Pine Hill should win it.
Okay.
You don't win games on paper, but you don't.
That is true. That's very true. One of the big cliches on our show. All right, let's have a look at the Sunshine Coast very quickly. BG's, this is in the FQPL. This is in the FQPL 3 Sunshine Coast women. BG's up against Maroochydore, Noosa up against Woombye, and in the men's, Caloundra playing against Noosa. Woombye up against Kawana. It's probably time to get Brad Lloyd on the show again. Kawana are making their charge. All right. And then in the Darling Downs, we have got, let's have a look at the men's, FQPL 3 men. Willowburn up against St Albans. Now, these are grand final fixtures. And Willowburn up against Highfields in the women's. They've been the two best teams in both competitions all year. All right, now that's a look at the leagues. Whilst we've got these guys, we want to bring them all back in and just have a general chat. Tony, we saw during the week that in the past couple of days that Gold Coast Knights have pulled out of the National Second Division. Olympic have pulled out of the National Second Division, but Sunny Coast Fire have reaffirmed that they're sticking with the process.
Well, I hope that he's financially strong enough to survive, because I reckon the other two clubs, if the Gold Coast Knights are pulling out, you've got to look at it because they're very financial. You would think there's got to be a reason. The only reason they would be pulling out is because of the money side of things.
Yeah,
and that's the same with Olympic.
yeah.
So I don't know. I honestly don't think it's going to get off the ground.
You're not confident?
No. There's only one team left in Brisbane, isn't it? Just about. Oh, City and Brisbane United.
Yeah, so Brisbane City and Brisbane United. Yes, they're the only Brisbane teams, and they've yet to show their hand as to whether they're sticking with it or not. And David, I'd love to put you under the cosh and get your unofficial word, but I'm going to spare you that one.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, no worries. All right. Anything else that we need to discuss? I did have a topic before. Tony, with these games, a lot of these games being played at neutral venues. We've got there's an Ipswich game that I saw that is being played at Spencer Park. How do you feel about the big clubs hosting the finals?
I always thought in the lower leagues that the team that finished higher hosted them. But obviously things have changed.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? What are the two teams? I mean, I saw something else that there was two teams from our Logan way playing some totally miles away from it.
Yeah, I don't have some specific examples here. I'm looking at these the FQPL metros, and everything seems to match up there. But I'm hearing whispers here and there that there are fixtures that are being played at neutral venues.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I don't know why.
I mean, if obviously it gets put out to tender. David, Spencer Park is hosting. Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, mate. In terms of a venue, though, it's carpet out there, mate, after the World Cup. So it'll be the best field they played on all season, hands down. So they're getting a quality facility to be in. So I guess there's a reward for those teams to be able to play on a facility like that. We've barely played on there all season because we've been playing away a lot recently. So at least the facility is going to be top notch. So I think credit to FQ for finding facilities that are actually top notch, rather than potentially facilities that aren't going to allow teams to play good footy.
Yeah, good stuff. So with the upgrade that the fields have, is it just going to get ripped up at the end of the year?
I bloody hope not, mate, because we've spent a lot of time and effort to make sure and manage that field really well. So that doesn't happen. It'd be a disaster for the club if those fields are torn up in the off-season or during this grand final period, because yeah, it's taken a lot of time, effort and money and a lot of willing parties within the club to make sure we manage that facility really well so it is top notch so we can play the way we want to play on it.
How many finals games will you be hosting, Dave?
Oh, mate, I understand it's over. I think it's up to 10. Like, we've got both the Kappa Cups there this weekend. We've got the two promotion relegation games. And then I believe a lot of those grand finals are going to be held at Brisbane City next weekend.
Okay.
It's great for the revenue of the club, but I'll be really upset if that field's destroyed because, yeah, again, it's absolute carpet. It's a pleasure to play on.
Do you have? I mean, obviously, a lot of money was given by FIFA to upgrade these facilities. Was there any knowledge that was imparted as well that to get it to this standard, you need to do this? I mean, is the groundsman now just a font of knowledge?
Yeah, well, Michael Felicetti came in at the beginning of the season. We've got a new groundsman, and he's been outstanding. He came from up north at Edge Hill and has relocated down here. He's done an outstanding job. The quality of the facility has definitely gone up. I think he tried to absorb a lot of knowledge from the FIFA delegates who came out and make sure the field was right. He was blown away by, I guess, the level of detail that the teams during the World Cup wanted, like how high the grass needed to be cut, how often it was watered. It was insane.
Yeah, right. Good stuff. And you said that you had Australia playing games there. Who else got to use the facilities?
Actually, the Matildas were mainly at Strikers and at Cusack. We had England, I think Ireland were there. France were there for a day as well. It was interesting. The only spot that was torn up was the penalty spot. So they were all practicing a lot of penalties. Thankfully for the Matildas, France didn't do enough of that, eh?
Exactly. And how about you personally? Did you make any contacts during the tournament?
No, not at all. No, we were trying to help support the Matildas wherever we could. And obviously we had our own games and stuff going on as well. So it was really tricky. And to be fair, we gave a lot of the girls time off to go to the games because we wanted them to embrace the experience. It's a one-off. So we were really flexible with it, but no real contacts made, unfortunately. But it was interesting to see as the tournament went on, it became quite difficult to get even close to teams. The lockdowns became pretty full on, to be honest.
Yeah, right. Okay. And did City get any other benefits apart from the ground? I mean, we saw that Olympic have got fantastic change rooms now that are Mickey Mouse.
Yep.
Did City get an upgrade as well?
The lights were upgraded as well, and most of the venues that hosted teams, I think you saw Central Coast were given a lot of equipment like goals and stuff, and where City are in the same boat. They've been given a lot of new full-size goals and portable goals, bibs, markers, agility poles. So we're grateful for what that legacy leaves at the club as well, so they can invest money in other parts.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hey, Tony, how's that cup game going at the moment?
Heidelberg 2-0 up, Sydney FC 2-0 up, Gold Coast Knights and Western United 0-0.
Oh,
Yeah.
United just scored.
Hey?
Western United just scored.
Oh, there you go.
You're lagging on your dodgy stream there, Tony.
I'm watching the Heidelberg game. I haven't gone back into this one. I've got a little multi Western United to win by more than 2 in Heidelberg. So I don't know whether, no, just a little bit of extra pocket money.
Good stuff. All right, guys, we might end the show there. I would like to add thank you to everyone who's been voting in our polls. We've gained about 400 members over the past 10 days since we've started our polls. So the home kit was, got a good response. The bar got a good response, but oh my God, this canteen and away kit poll, we've had more votes in the club that's had. No, each of these polls this week in 2 days has had more votes than the entirety of last week's polls. So yeah, absolutely, clubs are so proud of their canteens, Tony.
A lot of clubs are proud of their canteens. Like I said, I enjoyed kombuchas.
Yeah. No, they've got a good setup there. And Olympic didn't even make the nominations.
But they hardly played a game at home, mate. They hardly played a game at home this year.
Yeah. So we didn't get to try them.
No, I haven't been to one of their games.
Yeah.
At Goulburn Park anyway.
Perry, drum up some support for the Gold Coast, mate. Where's the best canteen you've been to?
Mate, aside from our own, obviously, I played at Surfers for a year, and they always put on very good food. So, mate, I'd probably tip Surfers into that one.
Yeah, right. They didn't get nominated.
Typical.
Let me see. Who do we have on the Gold Coast? If I can remember, just getting it up here. Tell you what, St. Catherine's. Oh boy, everyone in the Church League is out in force supporting their canteen. But it's Burleigh Heads and Musgrave that got the nod from our judges.
Most recently, we were at Musgrave. And they looked after us at the end of the game. Canteen was good. I don't mind a feed, so I'll probably let's go with Musgrave.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. And what about you, Abdul? Tell you what, with all those nationalities at Oates Park, that canteen's got to be fantastic, right? We've missed a gem there.
Yes, the canteen is doing well, and the club is growing. We are doing well, and a lot of we sell a lot of kid stuff. Mostly we have junior teams, so only 3 seniors. So, and the weekends is mostly junior games. So
What's the specialty on the menu?
specialty in the menu, mostly, what you can say, chips. kids all love chips, you know. They love chocolate and the drinks and things like that. So we do have our on Friday night some special rice and things like this. Friday night special, like afternoon training afternoon, where the kids come. So we pre-book some curry and chicken or something special like that, no?
That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. That's the good stuff. And David, Brisbane City got a nomination this year. They're currently on 13% in the poll. The pizza and ribs, mate. The pizza and ribs are back.
Yeah, they're smashing it, mate. And to be fair, we played Thunder, and I was talking to Tim before the game, and he's like, I wish they'd stop talking about the pizzas after the game rather than the game. The funny thing was they closed the pizza ovens before we finished, so they missed out altogether. So they're all done. But I tell you what, the pizzas are outstanding. I've got to say that. Credit to them. They spent a lot of money on them, and they've done a great job.
Excellent. Excellent. That's what we want to see. It's all about raising the bar. So congratulations to all the clubs that are nominated, and there are a lot of worthy clubs that missed out on the nominations. I'm sorry. Everyone who comes on the show, we ask them for nominations, and it goes from there. I tell you what, next week is going to be fun. We're going to have Ground of the Year, which is going to be interesting, considering that some clubs have had the financial doping from FIFA. But Referee of the Year, and I'm not nominating. There's going to be no nominations. It's just you guys supply the names. So that's always an interesting poll. Anyway, let's wrap up the show. Thank you for your attendance this evening. Good on you, Tony. Good on you, Perry. Well done, Abdul. And thank you, David.
Thank you.
We'll be back next week. It's finals time. Get out to a game and take in the action. This has been the Village Law SEQFC preview show. See you next week.